So what do you need to know about PDF? I've been in this business, even specifically in the PDF business for my sins in particular, for about 20 years. In fact, 1996 is when I started my service bureau, Document Solutions, in Oakland, California. And I've spent a lot of time since then, not only helping people with their PDF documents by way of that service bureau, but software company I ran, Applegent, in the aughts, and then later on with NetCentric, and now as an independent consultant. I spent a lot of time with the government officials and with CEOs and CIOs and software developers, a lot of software developers, talking about PDF and what they're not doing with it, what they should be doing with it, the things that should scare them to death about it, and the other sort of things that they should be knocking their heads against the wall saying, why don't we do that with PDF? Because it's just amazing how much you can do with it. In addition to bothering people and telling them how much they don't use PDF and what they should be doing about it, I'm the executive director of an organization you've never heard of, the PDF Association. It's about 110 different companies from 20 different countries. And together these are the many, not all, but many of the software developers who produce PDF files or produce software for viewing PDF files and so on worldwide. And I am, in addition to these things, I am the ISO project leader, which is to say I get the inestimably fun job of chairing the committee and showing up at the meetings for the PDF specification and for the specification for PDF UA. So although I'm not a software developer myself, I have the fun job of kind of riding herd on a group of software developers as they discuss how to develop and extend the PDF format and move it on into the new century. So I'm going to take you on a little journey today. We're going to talk about what is PDF and some associated ideas. And the first point I want to make very clearly is that PDF is business infrastructure technology. You know, you might think in the construction industry they rely upon concrete and glass and steel and aluminum and so on. And yeah, they do. And what do they rely on in business? For the things that they actually need, right? For their contracts, their transaction records, right? For the agreements, for their plans, for their shareable, distributable documents. They need a self-contained document that operates reliably wherever it shows up. You can't do that with web technology. You can't even really properly share it. When was the last time you tried to email somebody a web page? How well that work out for you? So PDF is everywhere, and there's a good reason why it's everywhere. It does stuff that no other kind of technology really does. Okay, how do we know it's everywhere? Well, I cheat because I know some people in the industry, some folks at Adobe, they have some software you may have heard of. They see an awful lot of PDF files. And you can opt in when you use Adobe Reader or Adobe Acrobat to have the software set in Adobe, anonymous information about the files that you're processing. So Adobe has a pretty good idea about the kinds of files that people use. And by extrapolation, we can make some general claims about the volume of PDF out there. And there are billions and billions of PDF files out there. As of April, over 2.2 billion PDF files just on the public web alone. And Dropbox, 10 times that number. Okay, Airbus and Boeing and the Department of Justice, they have at least a billion. They have no idea, but they have at least a billion PDF files. I think they have way more. If the documentation for a 777 weighs more than the aircraft itself, it's likely that there's several million PDF files just associated with that thing. Billions of PDF files opened every year in Outlook. Every day, 73 million new PDF files are created out of Google Docs. You can go save as PDF right out of Google Docs. Hey, you got a PDF. Well, that happens 73 million times every day. People must care for some reason about this stuff, right? Because you can also share that Google Doc. You don't need to make it into a PDF file. You can share it with anybody else who has an email address. Why are people using PDF? It's an important question. 60% of non-image, that's a boring stat. So you get the idea. PDF is everywhere. There's an awful lot of people using it. You already knew this, but here's some fun, hard data. Why do people use PDF? What's the value proposition here? Almost nobody ever asks themselves this question. It's just kind of instinctive, right? I didn't send them an Excel file. Oh, because if I send them an Excel file, they could start messing with it and changing it. And actually, when they open it up, I wouldn't exactly know which tab they're looking at. And maybe the fonts are different if I'm sending them a Word file or something. And there are all kinds of good reasons why you send them this sort of fixed picture of a file. You took a photo, as it were. You took of that Word file, that Excel file at a particular moment in time. It's a record. It establishes something that you considered, that you decided to transmit to somebody else as a shareable item, and has a very different kind of quality that way. Although it's relatively elusive and hard to describe, it's nonetheless very real. It's so real that 73 million times a day, people who use Google Docs prefer to send a PDF instead of actually just sharing that document. So how is it the PDF does all these things? It's reliable, first and foremost. What everybody believe. You open up that PDF and you open it up somewhere else, and there are exceptions, but in general terms, you'll always get the same result. The portability, the self-contained aspect of PDF creates its portability. This cannot be underemphasized. This cannot be overemphasized. There's really no other technology out there that allows you to bundle together a bunch of images and text and graphics and metadata and annotations and form fields, and all wrap it up in a bundle and send it off to somebody and have an extremely high expectation that they will get a similar result when they open it up. No other technology does that. So I'm not going to wander through this whole list, but the list, I think, is, in a way, when you kind of reflect upon it, it makes its own case. PDF started off well because it matched the need to be able to transport a document that could easily be printed. So PDF started with the idea that it would bridge the paper world and the electronic world. So today, people take that PDF and they print it out, and then they scribble on it, and then they scan it, suck it back into a computer, and what do they make? They make a PDF with it. There's a lot of reasonable head scratching that can occur based upon that kind of a workflow. But it's nonetheless, it demonstrates that PDF is meeting a particular need. And I don't tell that CIO, and I don't tell that salesperson or that account manager or whatever that they're wrong to print that file. Of course they're wrong to print that file. It's not my job to tell them, right? It worked for them in their workflow at that particular time. And of course, we might prefer that policies and procedures are different. But you need something that's flexible. You need something that meets the particular needs that occur in a real world organic business situation in a routine matter. So annotations, PDF can do these annotations. It has security features. You can digitally sign PDF files, include semantics and attachments. But then we get to what I consider to be some of the real meat of the thing. This all works. All these features happen not because Adobe Systems invented it, not because Adobe's software can do this stuff, but because everybody's software can, in principle, do this stuff. And many people's software can, in reality, do it too. The PDF is a broad ecosystem of vendors, thousands actually, of PDF software vendors who make different kinds of software, doing different kinds of things. Some of them are viewers, others are creators, and many of them, certain kinds of modifications, or the ability to search, or in the ECM space, the ability to index content out of a PDF file. We're going to get to that in a minute. The other part of the PDF value proposition, it's always important to emphasize because not everybody knows this, PDF doesn't belong to Adobe anymore. It was invented by Adobe in 1993, but in 2007, Adobe made the very smart decision to turn over PDF to the international standards community. Now PDF is run, managed, and literally written and decided upon by a group of 20 to 30 people. We get together twice a year. We sit around a table, and we look at proposals to change PDF. We make those changes in the document format, and then we're about to publish PDF 2.0, which will have these various addendums to it. So it's an open, democratically managed standard. It's far more than a fancy TIFF. The ECM industry has been slow, shall we say, to adopt PDF, and I'll say more about this in a minute. They've tended to regard PDF as some kind of a fancy or distinctive kind of a TIFF, another way to represent a page inside of a computer system. And it's such a pain, actually, that in many cases we don't even care about handling it as a PDF at all. We'll just rasterize it and OCR the results, and that's how we'll generate our index content rather than just scraping the text off the PDF file. It's way more than just an image. There are text and graphics and annotations and all kinds of other features inside of a PDF. One of the things that's important in the information governance space is to ensure that your solutions respect these various features in PDF because your users are using them. And I'll say more about that in a minute. So PDF is, you've often wondered, it's a world of the web, right? PDF is some kind of archaic, dinosaur-like pre-web thing. It's a page, for God's sakes. It looks like a 8.5 and 11 piece of paper. It's made to interoperate with paper. How could anybody possibly care about it in the days of infinite scrolling and Facebook, right? Things of this nature. Turns out PDF is continuing to grow. So this is a simple line from you go to trends.google.com and you can search for terms and learn quite a bit about how particular kinds of terms, they need to be unique. They need to be strings that you can easily differentiate from other things in the world. where different terms are going in terms of usage. Google Trends works the following way. It's not a measurement of searches. It's a measurement of the total number of searches as compared to the total number of searches conducted. So it's actually a proportional change. Okay, as you see this line going up, and it dips down, by the way, it dips down in around the end of December, and it dips down around July. Go figure. People aren't working so much. So they're touching PDF files less, thinking about PDF files less. But what's happening is over time, PDF is actually, this data proves, it's global data, it's straight from Google. Google's a lot of people's choice of search engine. It proves that the number of times that people are thinking of a PDF file is going up over time. It's not going down. Interesting for a 23-year-old technology that's not a web technology, right? How do we, so is that a tough thing? You might ask me, is that a big deal? Maybe lots of technologies are going up in mindshare. Turns out they're not. I have great difficulty finding another technology increasing in mindshare compared to PDF. iPad, that's pretty sizable, right? A lot of people care. More iPads every year. They're funky. They do different kinds of things. Well, the share of iPad in terms of the amount of searches versus other searches peaked sometime in 2012, and it's sort of slowly eking its way down now. If you find another example of a prevalent technology that is increasing its mind share, SharePoint isn't increasing its mind share. I don't think iPhone is pretty flat. Right? I'd be interested to learn what it is. The PDF continues to constantly grow in terms of mind share. It's not hard to really figure out why. PDF is totally dominant for a document format online. Many websites, particularly government websites and .org websites, are actually not really websites at all. They're just navigation systems that help you find a PDF file that's interesting to you. Now, web developers don't really like to hear me say that, but it's completely true. That's what they're doing. The PDF files that are the PDF files online compared to doc files and PowerPoint and Excel files, it's not even close. I've been looking at this. I've been collecting this data. Again, this isn't hard data to get. You can everybody can do it themselves using a file type search in Google. Over the years, PDF has been around 80%, and this is my most recent check a few weeks ago. PDF is an even higher proportion of files found online. So I think PDF is going to live forever. People laugh when I say that. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. I think it really is true. I don't think that we're going to stop needing reliable portable content anytime soon. I can't imagine really a world where we all agree that the one true cloud is where our contract for $30 million resides, right? I don't need my own copy, and you don't need your own copy because it's up in the one true cloud, God's cloud. I don't know what we call this thing. Yeah, right. It'll never happen. PDF so we're going to need to be able to share documents that we trust, and by sharing it, I mean put it into your possession. So it's no longer something where there's any question of control over the provenance of that document. PDF is ubiquitous. I've already talked about that. It's everywhere. People are always searching for it at all times in all places. PDF and its subsets are open, standardized technology. There's no alternative. Go ahead and hit me with that alternative. EPUB, no, not so much. We could talk about why. So I think PDF is here to stay, or certainly here until something more interesting comes along that has the possibility of taking over something as big as PDF. So why does PDF matter in information governance? And the short answer is not all software is created equal. There's a lot that can be said about this. Information governance professionals need to care about PDF because information governance is itself all about understanding and managing capabilities and risks in the documents, the other kinds of information that a given organization is holding and transacting and using every day. PDF dominates the world of electronic documents, so it seems reasonable that of all the technologies out there that information governance professionals need to have some familiarity with, PDF might be one of those technologies. There are many capabilities of PDF, and there are significant limitations in PDF, although the limitations are actually more pertinent to the software most people use to process their PDF files, and it's actually about the format itself. Oh wow, this slide is not even displaying the whole slide. That sucks. So at the bottom, there's a line of text, which is, if I had used a PDF, this is a PowerPoint. Okay, this is PowerPoint. I don't know. I always use PDF. I had to use PowerPoint this time. PDF is grossly underutilized. I've mentioned all these features in it before. How many times have you really noticed that annotations in PDF are actually well transacted, well handled by an ECM system? You've never seen it because I'm not aware of any ECM systems that do a good job with that. I'm going to mention that more in a minute. Information capture and access control. How many ECM systems are applying security policies, access control policies directly to PDF documents using the built-in methodology, so that if that document, for whatever reason, was Dropboxed out of your organization and it's on somebody's thumb drive and it goes over to this other place, you'd still want it to be protected, right? Well, if your servers were communicating with the PDF files in their possession and managing the policies right on the PDF files themselves, the file would have integrated security that was aligned with your organization's policy. So the bottom line of software, the bottom line there said, not all software that creates or displays PDFs is equal. Oh, I managed to read it after a tiny little bit there. So I'll give you an example of the kind of risks that you're dealing with when you have PDF files, using PDF files, but perhaps not at a particularly high level. My favorite example is annotations, because everybody uses them, particularly our friends the lawyers. They're all about dropping notes and other kinds of highlights and content onto a PDF page, right? And saying, we hate this provision, take it out. No, we're not doing this, or emphasize this some more, and so on and so forth. Well, the vast majority of ECM systems, and I'd love for somebody to tell me about the system that does do this. When you import that PDF file into it, the system will retain the original PDF file. It takes that file and it parks it somewhere, and that's all good. Okay, and then the system attempts to index the content out of that file. In the vast majority of cases, and again, I'm looking forward to people that give me a counterexample, that system will extract the text from the page of the PDF file. Sometimes it'll do it the smart way, and it'll actually run through the PDF file, grab the text directly out of it. At other times, it might scratch its head and go, well, I want to believe everything's a TIFF image, so I'm going to rasterize this thing, send it through OCR, just like I do all the TIFF images I also get, and then I'm going to make a bunch of text and let you index that text, okay? In both of those cases, what they're not doing is dealing with the annotations. Result, your ECM system absorbed a whole bunch of PDF files, but all the annotations were not indexed. They're left on the floor. They're actually parked in the original file that's been collected by the system and is now sitting in some unindexed component of the unindexed area. But the annotations, these comments that these lawyers made, maybe the comments that your client made on the document, right? The ECM system completely unaware of these things, right? That's an information governance fail, as a function of how valuable that type of content is. So how serious is this issue? Well, it's pretty serious if you ask me, depending upon the volume of this type of content you have. Most ECM systems ignore annotations, as I've been saying. They just kind of ignore them and they don't exist. They don't index this content. They ignore file metadata. A lot of PDF files have title and author and subject and, God forbid, even taxonomy information in the metadata. Hard to believe, but it does sometimes happen. Most indexing systems ignore this. Most ECM systems ignore this stuff. Navigational features, content semantics, optional content. These are all various features of PDF features that are available in PDF. The vast majority of these ECM systems are ignoring routinely. Just check my time here. I'm down to a minute. Digital signatures. So why does it matter? Well, it's clear that if you don't index annotations, then that's a fail because you can't even find the text that was in those annotations. But there are other cases where these not so smart ECM systems do the wrong thing. I imagine you're looking for social security numbers. But the first part of a social security number occurs at the very, very end of page 42, and the other 6 digits occur on the very top of page 43, right? It happens sometimes. Most systems aren't able to stitch together semantically the two blocks of text from the 2 pages, and that's a hit that you didn't get, right? Maybe if your algorithm is very conservative, it's looking for 3 digits, and that's a suspect for a social security number, but a human's got to review it. That's the way you might find it in those cases. But if that page break happened and the social security number or whatever else you were searching for was in that break, and your system is not tuned up to handle tagged PDF, which is the way in which PDF solves that problem, then you're not going to find that particular search hit. All right, so I'm out of time here. Customer information destroyed. I think I mentioned Apple Preview. It does a really good number on your PDF files. It destroys the tags. It destroys digital signatures that are in there. Not safe for work, okay? So I want to reiterate, this is almost my last slide. I want to iterate something that actually I noticed John Newton was talking about in the last session. I wrote this slide before I even heard what he had to say, okay? He was talking a lot about how business platform thinking, and how platform thinking was an important way to go about organizing and managing your thought process around digital transformation, around improving your business processes. PDF is actually, while PDF is applicable in a technology sense and not so much in a business sense, PDF is also itself a platform technology. It is a baseline for containing content onto which you can build whole stacks of functionality, annotations, fillable forms, methodologies for sharing documents that are digitally signed and therefore authenticated, for authenticating documents in and out of servers, and so on and so forth. There are many, many things you can do with PDF technology that establish it as it's something that's usable in a multidimensional way that very few organizations take advantage of right now. So I'd suggest to you that PDF, it is itself a platform technology. You can leverage it, or you can just pretend it's a TIFF like most of the ECM industry does, which I don't advise. The choice is yours. Thank you very much for your time. Free books on PDFA and PDF UA in my Q&A session, which comes up next. Thank you.